Please welcome the recipient of 2026 Cinema Career Achievement Award, the great Nicolas Winding Refn! One more time. Wow. This is probably the most meaningful award I've ever had given to me. So you don't know what this means to me. I mean, I didn't know what to expect. This is beyond anything that I've ever had. So I'm one of you. So I wanted, of course, to thank everyone here, Mitch, and everyone here. It's incredibly moving for me to experience this because 3 years ago I was dead for 25 minutes and I was brought back to life. And to come and see this, knowing that what I've made and the things I have exercised from my body onto the world, people love, is more than I could ever expect. But the fact that I'm alive to accept this is the greatest gift of all. Genre, like Mitch was saying, in the mid-90s when I began, you know, we really couldn't make genre movies. We had to make important movies. But we were like, fuck that. You know, how to piss off your parents? Make a horror movie. How to tell the politicians to fuck off? Make something violent. A little fun, some sexy stuff. It's the best thing in the world. Genre is cinema. What do I say now? Oh, right, of course, yes. You're seeing my new movie. Yes, well, I like everything. I like horror, I like sci-fi, I like fantasy, I like action, I like melodrama. I like sex, violence, color, music, mayhem, some humor, and I tried to put all of this in one movie. So it was a kind of a cool thing, and hopefully it's an inspiration, but also something you'll enjoy as much as possible, because it's meant for you and it's made for everyone. You know, when you create, that's when you're alive. When you're done, it's for the audience, and it's here to hopefully exist with you forever and ever. And I believe I'll be back to answer all the questions that you would have, and I was also thinking we could send a message to my dear friend in Japan, Hideo. We have this relationship. I mean, I don't know, I play Hartman in case anyone. Yes, that is Hartman. But we have this way to communicate that we've never spoken to each other, because obviously we don't speak the same language, so we send images and music. So I thought you would love to see this, and I very much look forward to seeing you afterwards. I promise I'll give you great anecdotes and a joke and tell you everything. Guy in the
Now enjoy the gorgeous fairy tale death trip that is her private hell.
Projection room, play this as loud as you can.
You were the first audience in the country to see this record so far in hell. What did you think? Please welcome back to the stage, Mr. Nicolas Winding Refn. And Danielle doing superhuman feats of mic stand wrangling. We're nearly there. We're there! So Nicholas, it's such a beautiful film. And in many ways, it feels, first there's a terrible sadness in the movie, which is just overwhelming in the most gorgeous way. And so much of it feels like a dream transcription of a dark love letter to a past life, being written from a place of rebirth, if that makes any sense. I realize how pretentious that sounds, but that really is the thought. Do you want to speak a little bit about the Dennis film?
Yes. Just so there's going to be a little competition for the best question from the audience. Learn something tonight. So, if there's any desire, it has to come from a woman. I had a lot of things in me, and my life had kind of been reborn, so I decided to make a movie that was everything that was inside of me. And from that, there is a sense of my past, but also cleansing myself in many ways, and all the things that I had that I wanted to make, I could make it now in one movie. Because next year I'll make Maniac Cop.
And that's been many, many years coming. I remember reading the announcement. I know the gestation of it. Not to segue too far away from
Trump's president now, so now it's time to
now he needs it. Yeah, it's the right time. I agree, actually. There couldn't be a better time for a Maniac Cop movie today. Maniac Ice. Make it hurt. But, yeah, no, back to her private hell. Do you want to speak about the casting, but also how you work to bring the cast into this beautiful trancey state where I don't know if they fully understood what the film meant to you if they were saying these lines, but they say it with such conviction and in such just a dreamy kind of a way that I find so compelling.
Well, I did a lot of takes. Well, as mention that when Charles Melton saw the film, he said, called me and said, Nick, Charles, my body's never looked so beautiful. I know. He was very easy to work with because he's an incredibly gifted actor that has a lot of abilities with his physicality. You know, he is like an action star, but he has the body of a poet. And he likes that as well. And then Sophie and Havana and Christine were the three girls that would kind of create the melodramatic narrative. And we've been casting for a year, so I think about 10,000 girls submitted. And it really came down to the wire because I set a production date, and we still hadn't found the one who was going to play Elle, who was going to decide how everyone else was going to get casted. So Sophie came in very, very late, and the minute she walked through the door, I knew it was going to be her. So it was a real blessing. But it's the kind of casting where you don't really know what you want until you see it. So then Christine and Havana was then obviously had a vision prior, and I brought them in.
Sophie Mack was a revelation in this film, and I feel she really understood the kind of humor that's there that not every actor will get. You mentioned that you did certain things to stabilize them. For one example, some cast may not have known that their characters were going to be romantically involved with some of the other characters until the shooting began and the script was altered. Do you want to speak to that experience a little bit?
Well, I shoot my films in chronological order because otherwise I get confused. I'm dyslexic, so you can't laugh at that. The reason why I've done that always is because I like the act of not knowing, and I can then alternate and change things. And even though I know where we're going to end most of the time, or all the time, getting there is the fun part, and that will automatically affect the ending. But in this film, because I was interested in this father-daughter theme for many different reasons, especially my own, was I came up with this idea that Havana, which is Dominique, and Elle, Sophie, were going to be lovers. And that was halfway through the shoot. I came on set and said, I have a really good idea. And I thought, you guys have been lovers. And Havana was like, oh. And here's the new scene. But they were great in that kind of collaborative effort of finding multiple layers within the story, because the thing about fairy tales is that it's the thinnest piece of paper on the surface, but once you turn it, it has layers and layers and layers. And they were really into that, so it was a really wonderful collaboration. And I kept on, Elle was supposed to die at the end, and I kept on teasing her that I may change her character. And when I told Sophie she wasn't going to die, she was very happy. And also, she's so good and sweet.
Do you anticipate working with her regularly? Because she feels more Refn coded than any actor of that generation.
She reminds me of like a female version of Ryan Gosling. Or Mads Mikkelsen, I mean. She's truly unique, and she has this gift of an old movie star glow. I mean, she looks like something out of a movie from the 40s, and her acting ability is obviously incredibly, because she's theatrically trained, so she really understands text and super. I would love to do more things with her, actually. But they were all great. I mean, they were all collectively together, but obviously Sophie had to carry the entire movie on her shoulders.
Do you want to speak about the color coding that you've used in so many of your films, just your approach to color and storytelling?
Well, I'm colorblind.
Is it fully colorblind or midtones?
I don't know, I'm colorblind. Asking a blind man what's like not seeing. What doesn't he see? No, No, I've been told that I can't see green and mid-colors, but I can feel color. So it's a long process, both in while prep and shoot and post, to make it so that I can feel it. And then I can say I like it or I want to look at this.
That's beautiful.
It's a long going process. It takes a long time. But I didn't know I was colorblind until I was 24 because I got a girlfriend. I was a late bloomer and I wanted to pay her a pair of shoes. And she kept on trying the same pair of shoes, and I thought, oh God, I've got something that's wrong with her. Until I realized, I said, it's the same pair. Just buy the fucking, I'll pay for it. And she was like, no, they're two different colors. You're colorblind. So she taught it. I learned it the hard way. I also learned, this is why I failed my driving test 8 times, because then I realized I couldn't see the difference between yellow and orange.
So when you communicate with
But then I also realized I had glasses. I didn't know that before.
So when you communicate with your cinematographers and talk about gelling approaches and things like that, what is the shorthand that you use?
I said I want a lot of color, a lot of red, blue, purple, and things I can feel and pink. No green.
Excellent.
But I guess you mix that in certain ways and you get a third color tone. But that, Matt Newman, who edits all my movies, helps me with that afterwards to explain to the post people what it has to feel like. And then I can feel it, and then it works.
Okay. So one of the main things that I adore about this film is your use of Peter Fantasia for the score. What he brings to the score is just so immaculate. I know that you're a huge fan of his composing work. Do you want to speak about him and about your experience working with him?
So Pino, it's the first movie I made where I didn't know what the music was going to be, and it was a bit odd because I usually know what the sound would be. But then halfway through the film, when I was shooting it, I realized maybe I wanted to make an opera. I always wanted to make an opera, and this was maybe my version of it. So that became closer because the themes were operatic. Elle's father is leaving her, but he married her lover who became her stepmom, and she creates an alter ego in Charles, who was Private K. It's all very, grand. And so I needed a composer that knew opera and film music. So you go to Italy, and I went to Italy, but I realized all the composers were dead. Except Pino, who was in his mid-80s and in a kind of semi-retirement stage, and I asked if he would be interested in writing an opera. And he doesn't speak English, he's like, And I said, great, but as you know, in opera, as he knows, you start with the music. Here I did it the other way, I am going to end with the music. But that means that I'm betting everything on your music. Your music is going to tie this movie together. It has veins, it has a heart, it has no blood. And the blood's going to come from you, Pino. And I think he does.
Beautiful. And it somehow starts to make the film feel almost like a spectral Douglas Sirk, or something like this, the way the music plays.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I love melodrama. I mean, I love camp and kitsch and I got daughters, so I see a lot of melodrama and a wife.
And just for the audience, an interesting thing is that we actually tried to bring Fantasia to the festival because he scored 2 films this year. There's also Fellini, an Italian horror film that's gorgeous as well. And he's back on the level of his best work from the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Like, you would not think he's the age he is. So the reason he can't come in, incredibly, because he's scoring the new Brian De Palma film. So he's fully fucking back. And sometime or another, we will get him. We will get him on the stage.
No, he's unique, and it's the music is going to come out soon, so hopefully you'll enjoy it in your crowd.
Day one by.
Yes.
Fantastic. So let's open some questions to the audience. I know there are many. Yes.
How did you tell what he got for you with this? doing something more insane than only God forgives.
Well, I guess Only God Forgives is a lot about mothers and sons, and about every man wanting to have sex with his mother. Which is true. So when it got to this one, it was father and daughter, which is far more complex for me. And I just had to, it was what I wanted to see. So I hope you enjoyed it.
Yes.
You mentioned earlier how this movie is somewhat of a rebirth for you. I'm just curious how the event from 3 years ago, how you think it's gonna impact the way you make art in the future.
When you, in my situation, I had come to kind of prior to my death, kind of end of the road creatively. I had nothing left that I wanted to make. I had done the films and shows I had in me, and I'd begun to work in other mediums creatively, and I was kind of in a way sad because I knew that I had nowhere to go. But I still love our visual medium. And then I died. But before I died, I realized that this was going to be an opportunity if I was to come back. And when I did awake again and was brought back with electricity, I decided that, time is essential. And I remember thinking, praying, that when I was going to die, that I just wanted 5 more minutes. Like, I'll take 2 minutes, God, like whatever you can give me. And so when I came back, my understanding was more of the essence of time. And if I were to make more movies again, which I wanted to make, I got to make it worth the time, both for myself and for the audience, because I'm taking your time. And I need to give you something in return that's not just consuming, but an experience. So obviously it affected certain ways of how I see narrative and an experience, and that I only make films for the theatrical experience.
So you can
You can never say never, but I do think about cinema is that it's a way to collectively bring people together in ways that, because we're getting so separated economically and socially and media-wise, that creativity is what makes us wholesome. We're all sitting in the same auditorium, we're all equal. Same thing, music or other aspects, but we are kind of coming together. And for me, I can't play an instrument, I have no musical talent, I don't know how to paint, I'm useless with clay, so I can't dance. So movies is my thing, but I think it's important to remember, why do you create? And one thing is your own personal demons, but also if you can create for a forum that's about communicating, then you're doing something better for humanity. So beautiful.
I've watched a lot of your interviews, and I think you said most is, I don't want to be one of those people who always talk about the past, but bringing people like and the influence you put on your movie that was based on your first experience with cinema, what's the difference between that and quoting don't want to the past?
Well, it's why I don't have an interest in talking about the past, because I'm living in the future. And I think with the time you have on earth, don't live in the past, because you'll regret it. Because you've got to live every minute as if it was your last minute. Beautiful.
Yes.
And what you communicated to the actors on set to sort of create that vibe, and when did you have that in mind?
thing that Mist is obviously very magical, it's very mythological, so that was probably the idea. But I wanted to create a city on stage that didn't exist, so I had to build it. Originally I'd gone to Japan, Tokyo to shoot it, but I came to understand that whatever was in my head didn't exist and I needed to build it. So I came back to Copenhagen, where I didn't want to be, and made the film. And then explaining it to the performers was that the mist is the essence, it's the kind of delusional way of her own situation, because obviously the movie is about a woman who's going insane.
You have questions up there? We're going. Yes.
Well, I mean, in Dead Stranding, I'm just the eye candy. I mean, he gives creativity. But the irony, of course, is that I play Hideo Kojima as Heartman, and we do have a laugh about that. My condition in his game actually affected my real life, so life imitates art. But in terms of hell, I don't know. It was all black when I went there, so you don't want to live there, you want to live here.
Okay. Yes.
Thinking back to your early works with Leader and the Pusher trilogy, how raw and visceral and gritty it was, to where you are now in this sort of ethereal, part of the actual grass material. How do you look back on your own evolution across your career? It's been quite a path.
Well, I always say if Hans Christian Andersen was alive today, he would be me. Not the European musician.
We have time for one last question. I saw you had your hand up.
Yes, my first time here. When a director, creator is in that moment, who they relate to is pivotal. They don't sometimes want to leave that character. Who was that for you?
Well, I guess it was Sophie. I have to say, deep down, it was all her, because the film was about her, and our collaboration was very magical. And I would say she was the essence